So here we have the Spectre M4. Just to crawl in here, it comes with a battery, the charger, of course, the magazine, the gun itself. Just from the look of the thing, I think the gun looks rather cool. Some people have said this looks extremely ugly. I don't know. I kind of like the fact that it doesn't look so conventional. It has a nice look to it. The magazine goes into the housing like so, and what I think is rather unusual about removing the magazine release is inside the trigger guard, which I think is rather unusual. Usually they would be a little bit further down, especially outside the trigger guard. So having the magazine release inside the trigger guard, I think, is rather unusual. Nevertheless, it is a rather unusual looking gun anyway. So from that perspective, it might as well be inside the trigger guard because everything about this gun is rather odd. So that's it, pretty well the gun in a nutshell. So, if we're looking at this gun from MilGear, where we bought it, it was reasonably priced. It was at 159 euros. So we thought that that is a reasonable price for an airsoft gun, especially here in Finland, because these things have to be imported, and the customs, the taxes, everything else on top of these things make these things rather expensive. This gun is of a good weight for those, see, it's not exactly plastic, kind of pressed metal. In my opinion, it feels rather solid. It doesn't feel like it's going to come apart. So for the price, I think you get a rather solid looking gun and solid feeling gun. It is heavy enough that you'd say, yeah, it feels like I've actually paid something for it. Actually getting something in return for what I paid for it. To get this gun CQC graded, there was a bit of an issue. We purchased this gun first, and it said on the website in MilGear that this gun already shoots at 0.95 joules, so under our limit. So we thought, okay, this would be a good gun to try. So when we purchased it, we had it sent to us, put the battery in it, and wouldn't you know, it fired at 1.03 joules. So this gun, out of the box, no CQC grading to it whatsoever, is overpowered for the back alley. Okay, for outside play, sure, certainly it's well within the limits of, I would say almost, in Finland anyway, those outdoor ranges and outdoor game sites. But certainly, if we're inside for the back alley, it's overpowered. We sent it back to MilGear, and we asked them to CQC grade it for us. We got it back. Of course, there was a Christmas break and some holiday time with regard to how things move in Finland because of the postal service. We got it back, and when we got it back, we put just a normal size battery into it, something like 1200 MAs, and wouldn't you know, it shot as powerful as a spring-loaded pistol. That took us by surprise, and we fiddled around with it a little bit with batteries, and our fiddling around, we ended up stuffing this into it, which is an 11.1 volt G&G LiPo battery. And when we stuffed this into it, then we were able to get it to fire exactly where we wanted it to be at, which is 0.85, 0.90 joules. So can this gun be CQC graded easily? In our opinion, at least in my opinion, I have to say that it cannot be CQC graded easily for that reason that I just mentioned. There was some problem getting this gun under the limits, and of course we had to use, I thought, a rather extreme LiPo battery to get this thing to work properly. So for that reason, it can't be CQC graded easily. It does take a bit of effort to do. Now, let's discuss something I think is rather odd about the gun. Let me tilt this up so you can see it. Here we have on the left side of the gun this dial and a switch. This switch, of course, does the semi-automatic and full automatics. Here we have the fire selector switch. And if you look on the right side of the gun, the fire selector switch is Mach. And if you look on the right side of the gun, the safety is works here, like so. Here we are in safe, here we are on fire. Now on the left side of the gun, the safety is Mach. So you can run into situations where you are a right-handed shooter and you are unable to see if the gun is on safe. You actually have to cant it over to the right to look. Here you can see it's on fire. And so other problems that come up with the gun as well, that if you're a left-hand shooter, you're holding the gun like so. You have the fire selector switch, which is Mach, and the safety, of course, is here on the right. So as a left-handed shooter, you actually have to move your thumb over like so to use the fire selector switch. Of course, at the back alley, we have everything on semi-automatic anyway. Not such a big deal. However, I'll just let you know that the switches don't work exactly like they're supposed to on the real Spectre M4. But of course, we're dealing with airsoft here, and so there are compromises made in all airsoft guns, and this is certainly one of them. Just want to make you aware of. I think it's really odd. I'm also told this is kind of normal in airsoft. I just think it's kind of weird that you'll have some problems maybe figuring out if this thing is unsafe. So if you're an inexperienced user, I would say don't get this gun, because I don't want you to be shooting anybody that I know in the off game. Because you don't know if this gun is unsafe simply by looking at this dial. You actually have to turn the gun over. So that's what I want to say about that. This is a very, very odd setup with the safety, which I think is probably the most important part of the gun, is the safety aspect. And here we have a problem dealing with, in fact, we have a Mach switch on the side of which, of course, you're looking at the gun. You should probably, if they were thinking about it, they would have made this switch on the left side would have been real, and the Mach one would have been on the one on the right. That's what I want to say about that. Go, go, go. Go upstairs. Go, 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 go. Okay, I'm going to stay on the floor. Okay, now for my summary of this Spectre M4, brand new as it is, there is some problems for the CQC grading. It's certainly reasonably priced, and it's not for the inexperienced. So if you're the type of guy who likes to rip apart guns, this is the gun for you. And I say this quite specifically because only after about 8 hours of play, this gun no longer fires on semi-automatic. It fires on full automatic, but not on semi-automatic. I have tried a number of things to get this gun to work. I'm not going to take it apart because I think that inexperienced guys who first-time airsofters or inexperienced airsofters don't have the capability to tear guns apart. I'm actually just going to send this back to MilGear and ask them to have a look at it, because I like to keep this gun under its warranty. And so if this gun is not successful, I'd like to get another one. If I rip it all apart, it's not going to be under warranty at all. They'll be able to tell if I've been tampering with this gun. I'm not going to touch it. So for the inexperienced, no. For the experienced airsofter guys and many years experience, those guys like to rip guns apart, absolutely get this gun. I have to say that when I used it in the field, have a look at part 1. This really was a blast to use. I really enjoyed it. Very nice cycle rate in semi-automatic. My trigger finger was having fun, and I ripped into a lot of guys. I have to say, I just thought it looked cool to use. I've never used a machine pistol before. I have to say, this is my first one. I have to say, I'm very impressed with this, the way this gun works. I just wish it worked. So I'm going to send it back to MilGear, hear what they have to say, and hopefully you'll see this gun back at the alley. So guys, for the inexperienced, no. For the experienced airsofter, absolutely. So see you at the alley soon. Good job. Hit! Nice! Hit! Nice shot! Great game, Mike.